actually take the stand and testify in court.
Yes, I can do that, but
Right.
in regards to making my statement today, I've made it clear that based on the actions of this RCMP, I do not feel safe to go in the back and take it by myself.
So if you want to maybe write out a statement, you can do that.
Okay, but
Yes,
this has to
this
be in the,
form shows that someone will sign saying they witnessed me actually writing out the statement with no interference, and that's a police officer that will sign and say that. That's what this form is for, and I would like it to be signed for me, because I need to make sure that I am protected in my statement and in the situation that's going on, and I've seen based on what this RCMP detachment has been doing, there's been a lot of very misconduct activity being done here. They've even tried to illegally return evidence
Yes.
to my father. There's things that have been illegally done here. I cannot trust that recording back there is going to do me any justice by itself. I need to make sure that I have my own recordings and safety put in place.
and I also have,
Which is why we've made our appeal to the UN.
What was this form?
I have concern,
This
wait,
form is the deposition of witness, Form 31 from Section 540.
I also would like to state that I do have concerns for my safety based on the human rights violation, the torture, and other criminal activities that have been perpetrated to me by numerous parties in Saskatchewan, in North Battleford. And the RCMP is tied to some of those events, and I've dropped off the information yesterday. It has also gone through every level of government, including the federal government, and this is why it's now sitting at the what is his name? What is the Secretary General's Office of the United Nations. Because of the gross human rights violations, there were more than half of the Declaration of Human Rights violations being perpetrated against myself and others attached to me that has been fallen on deaf ears. This is why, under no circumstances will I be, or anybody left attached to me, be taken alone by any RCMP officer. Absolutely not. I have concerns for my life and safety, and so does anybody who is attached to me, based on the serious nature of these allegations.
And I presented to Sir Clint here, that's your name, right? Yeah. I said to him that, if you were to come to my home, if I made my statement to you in my home, anyone present there would have heard the statement, and it would have been a public statement. If you made this, if I made a statement to you on the street, anyone who was passing by would have heard part of the statement. I have the right to ask you to make a statement publicly, like stand outside or to be in an area that's not private to make my statement.
Right. The only reason, and I just want to be totally clear, the only reason that we would ever want someone to make a statement away from other potential witnesses, the absolute only reason is just to make sure the purity of that statement. It is not to segregate you from other people by any means.
Yes.
It is just to make sure that the information that we are getting is your purest account of whatever the event was that we're investigating.
Yes.
Then when we speak to the next person, that is their pure account of what happened, right? That is the only reason. It is for quality of information, period.
Yeah, sir,
right?
I understand that, except there's a problem with that, because when you say to someone, take a written statement home, take this paper home and do a written statement, anyone can interfere with that statement. You can swear on that, but anyone with me can help me write that. And I'm not saying that's what I'm going to do, because
But a lawyer
write
can
my
use that
own
to say that it's
statement,
potentially compromised.
Well, not
but the point
necessarily.
is-
Hear me out here.
Well, I never wanted to-
When you come and give a statement to us in the room,
Yes.
or on paper, you're not swearing to anything. Okay? There is no swearing.
Well, you said it's for the purposes of making sure that everything is an honest statement.
Yes.
Anyone can help me
But-
write a written statement.
Hold on.
And that's why I'm saying there must be something that can be put in place.
They have to have a representative of law enforcement, a peace officer present to add to the validity of the statement. Because if a statement is not written by a peace officer, a lawyer could come into court and say that anybody could have helped them collude to make that statement. Therefore, it is more advantageous to have a representative of law enforcement, peace officer, witness to the statement to say that no one interfered with them in the creation of that statement. And that is, logical.
My job is to investigate. My job in being there is just to ask the right questions,
Well,
to
sir.
get the information that is required
Based-
to investigate, right? It has nothing to do with whether or not somebody tampered with a witness or whatever the
Based
case
on,
is.
based
Well, I
on the
guess-
serious nature of the allegations, that's not possible. And you have to understand that the right to life, the right to be free from harassment, intimidation, or fear is also something that needs to be taken prevalence, because any such statement that would have been made under the high levels of duress would not be admissible anyway, because there is no way that I would be left alone or allow somebody that is connected to me left alone, because my levels of duress would go through the roof. Because you just sitting here both with your arms, I'm terrified.
You
I am
folks came down here
terrified.
on your own volition, right?
Yes,
We didn't call you and ask you to come to the police
yes,
station.
but there,
So you came down here because you wanted our assistance with something.
it's because I have no other choice.
I'm not going to intimidate, lie to you, threaten you, do any of those things. I am here to help you. That is
Well,
it.
I have
Okay, hold on a
question.
second.
Right?
I
Go
have a
ahead.
question.
Yes.
I've made it known to you that the police in this RCMP detachment have lied to us. They've dealt with us with misconduct. They have, they've done a lot of things that are just not honest and transparent and legal. And so I'm telling you, based on the activities that have been going on with your detachment that are unjust, I don't feel safe to make a complaint privately. What can you do about that based on what I've shared with you? Because I've just shared with you that
Yeah.
your department has done illegal activity. It's illegal to hand back evidence. They've shown many times that they are not transparent, that they are not honest, they don't care about my safety, or else they wouldn't have come and tried to hand back evidence.
What evidence are you speaking of? I'm just not familiar with this.
There's a book that I gave to Constable Sakella
Okay.
that was added into evidence as part of a investigation, a fraudulent one that I might add, and tried to return it to me after coming down here. We came here numerous times to get the names of the officers involved. They gave me the name of two men, and I specifically identified her as a woman, and they kept refusing to give me that information until I had gone through the Saskatchewan government and then went to head to the federal government and the Civilian Complaint Review Board and sent that information and brought it here to the RCMP with 91 pages pertinent to that case that shows that they came there with willful intent to make that claim against me with no evidence, and withheld relevant information that would have proved themselves to be liars.
Yeah.
And then, only then, did they come out and give me the information after I made the complaint.
Yeah, so I'm asking, because of all of this, we've explained these, these details to you that are actually quite bad. They're quite bad, let's be honest. What can you do to make things comfortable for me so that I can also make
I'll tell you
myself
what I'm gonna
more
do.
safe?
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do, okay? I'm going to speak to the Crowns in regards to this form, because I'm just not familiar with it. If it's some tool that we can use to make this work better, then by all means, I'm game for it, right? It's not something that has come up before.
Yeah.
In my service, I've never seen it, but I will look into it, because I could see on your phone, it looked to me like it was one of the government forms from the website.
Yes, it was.
I don't know necessarily about what section 540 is, what its implementation would be, or what type of circumstances you would be able to use such a form, okay? I know that only in certain circumstances are we ever taking sworn statements from people, right? It's not that common.
So
Okay,
would it,
generally speaking, a witness statement is not under any type of oath.
okay,
When-
so would
what-
someone be able to
what I would-
witness me writing out my statement?
What I would suggest to you, if you're going to contact the Crown Attorney, the information that I dropped off yesterday to the RCMP about 8 o'clock last night, get the Crown to review that information and then see and ask, then he'll understand exactly why we're asking what we're asking. Because I supplied the relevant sections of the Criminal Code of Canada and highlighted the sections. I've also highlighted both the human rights violation from the Declaration of Human Rights from the United Nations and also the rights of the child that has been, because my youngest daughter had her rights violated, and the RCMP is being used as the method to violate those rights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, if I were to take my statement, would someone at least be able to be present while I'm writing out my statement? Second question, if that's okay, this person is not a witness, so if there would be no colluding or any damage to my statement, this would just be someone sitting in with me for my own personal protection, because he was not witness to any of the things that went on the day of the assault.
I see. Okay.
So I don't see, like, I could understand my father if anything, but
Yeah,
not.
and that's generally the concern, is just wanting to get the best evidence, the best take on the event, right?
So it's the same even though someone was not.
From each witness, right? So, I mean, somebody who's not a witness isn't going to be providing a statement. They're in a little different kind of realm, right?
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, and I think a lot of police officers would agree with me, and potentially even Crowns would, okay? So it's just our general practice is to have statements from each individual in private, so that we can get that best information. Now, if somebody needs a support person present, for whatever reason that might be, should that person not be a witness, then it kind of changes the circumstance, it changes their function in the statement and in the investigation as a whole, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So this person being a support person, not being a witness, would be okay
Right.
to be present in the room?
Potentially, but now if you'll buy me some time here, I don't know if we're gonna be able to sit down and actually deal with this today, but if you allow me to look into this form, right? And just to look into how we can broach this issue and get the information that you wish to provide in a manner that you feel safe.
Well, I would
Right.
really like to, I understand that and I appreciate that you said that. I would just like to say that I would really like to make the, the statement today as soon as possible, because I'm concerned for the safety of my sister, who is under the care of the person who assaulted me because of the level of violence and abuse that person.
How old is your sister?
She's
18 months,
Okay.
Yeah.
and she's assaulted her more than once. She's kicked her in the back walking outside the door. She's assaulted me multiple times and subjected me to severe psychological abuse as well.
And this was just after I came out of the hospital. I was in there for weeks because I was assaulted previously, and then I was sexually assaulted in the
multiple
hospital
times,
multiple times,
and then assaulted by
and then
my
she
wife.
assaulted me, knowing my circumstance. So she doesn't care about the vulnerability of a person. She's shown that she's willing to be violent in any circumstance. She did this publicly in a church. There was a bunch of commotion. Many people, the whole church congregation witnessed her violence. Only a few people witnessed the actual assault though. So I'm very concerned for the safety of my sister, and that's why I would like to report
And
this
showed
today.
no regard for the impact that it had on my youngest daughter when she was pulling her hair as hard as she could after being held in my arms while her mother was assaulting her sister and screaming at the top of her lungs. I've never witnessed such levels of violence in a home, in a family setting in my life.
She assaulted
I was traumatized. My
When
oldest daughter
did
was
this happen,
traumatized.
guys?
This happened February 15th
Yeah.
Okay.
at the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And then the members after that set up a mediation, they took advantage of me and tried to get me to throw her out on the street after. And
So that's when the assault happened, when he was on the 15th?
Yeah, on the 15th of February, it was around noon, probably, because we were listening to the sermon service on video.
Okay, no, I just wanted a bit of background information here, just so that I kind of know sort of an overview of what happened here. I'm not here to take the entire thing, and obviously I'm not recording our conversation, so
it was,
I would just be able to make notes, which isn't fair to you guys, right? Can I get the spelling of your name though?
Kaysha,
Yeah.
and my last name is Dery.
D-E-R-Y, okay,
well, if
perfect.
I want to understand right now, because you said you're taking notes and you talked about taking statements with people present. If we begin to talk about this situation with the both of us present, I'm thinking that this may compromise the integrity of any such statement
I'm
after.
assuming you guys have talked about this at length numerous times already.
It doesn't matter. I'm not going to answer that question. That's a question that
Well,
is
it happened on February 15th. You guys
doesn't.
are
That's a
family.
question that I'm not going to answer to you.
Well, you said that a support person can come to the room that wasn't a witness.
And honestly,
I would
I will prefer to not talk about this any further until there is time to make statements.
Okay, can
Now-
I get a phone number for you? Either,
Yes.
whoever would be the best to contact.
306-441-4626. And I have actually something else to ask you about.